Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the iRobot Roomba Combo i5 Plus. I did receive this sample from iRobot, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. Everything looks great. This is a robot vacuum cleaner and mop combo with a self-empty base. And on the side of the vacuum box, you'll learn more about the automatic dirt disposal. On the back, you can learn more about some of its key features, like its mopping abilities. Then you'll see we have our automatic dirt disposal again on this side. And then we're back to the front. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of our safety information, 1-year warranty information, and our getting started guide. 3 steps on the front, 3 more on the back. Next, you'll see our mop tank activation card. You will have to activate your mop tank before use in the iRobot app. Extra air filter here, power cord and cable. You'll see the mop tank. Open this up to easily empty and clean the inside of our dustbin. You'll see our water up at the top to easily refill. QR code for setting this up within the iRobot app. There's our air filter already installed. Mop pad on the back side. You will have to install it yourself, but it's just Velcro and slides right off. Next, we have the vacuum. Let's look at the vacuum and our self-empty clean base up close in more detail. Looking at our i5 from the top, you'll see 3 different control buttons, iRobot's logo and branding, 2-tone color up here with 2 different textures. Got our smooth texture, a little bit of a matte finish with the shine for the logo, and then you'll see our textured plastic top. I really like that texture. I think it looks pretty neat. You'll see additional sensor up at the top for navigation as well, and our navigational bumper. Let's look at that from the front of the vacuum. You'll see it from the side, iRobot Roomba branding. Then we have our dustbin on the back. Here's a look at the other side. We can pop that out to look at the dustbin. Green tab there, open up, empty, clean as needed. Automatic dirt disposal. There's our filter. You'll see a little indicator, don't get the filter wet. And then this just goes ahead and snaps right back into the vacuum. So we'll flip it over and you'll see spring-loaded drive wheels, omnidirectional wheel, charging contacts, side cleaning brush, tons of cliff sensors, floor sensors for dirt detect. You'll see our dual brush roller, Aeroforce system, 2 rubber brushes. And this also can adjust basically left, right, up, and down for any uneven floor, giving you that nice, deep clean. Now let's look at the charging base. Looking at the base from the top down, you'll see we have a little flap right here with iRobot's logo and branding on it. We can open that up to reveal our vacuum bag already installed with 1 extra one in storage there. You'll see we even have instructions for installation for the vacuum bag built into the unit. Now we can look at it from the front. We have a textured black plastic at the top, giving us modern lines for the design. You'll see a little code here for the vacuum, additional sensors, charging contacts. This is where it's going to self-empty. We have some grip for the wheels to drive on and rest in place on the charger. Here's our side profile with iRobot's branding. Flip it over, look at the other side. Very similar, but we don't have the venting. And we'll flip it over upside down. You'll see all of our grip points here. 6 screws if we ever need to remove this if we get a clog for the self-empty. It's great that we can do that ourselves. And then you'll see from the back side, power cord plugs right in there and built-in cable management with 2 channels to run it to the left or the right. This just helps it sit flush up against a wall. Now let's go ahead, let's plug it in, and let's charge up our vacuum and try it out. First cleans out of the way, let's see how the vacuum held up. Just seeing a little bit of dust and hair as you would expect as it's agitating and moving along your floors. So a lot of dust around the main sensor on the navigational bumper. Let's flip it over, take a look at the mop pad here. Doesn't look bad at all. Still looks new. Obviously it's going to be wet. So that'll just vary depending on how dirty your floor is. We have not cleaned it yet, but definitely take this off, give it a nice wash. You'll be surprised by the dirt you'll be able to get out of it. Main brush roller looks great too. I'm not seeing any tangles. That is usually what you can expect out of this AeroForce cleaning system. It was one of the best anti-tangling systems out there if you have a lot of pet hair or human hair. This is more typical though. Usually you'll see that on any vacuum that has a side cleaning brush. We have one long piece of human hair tangled in there. So keep an eye on that throughout your cleans. But so far, so good. Now let's look at the dustbin contents. We'll see what we're working with here. So look at that in there. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. A lot of pet hair, a lot of crumbs. Unbelievable. Hard to believe that we have a RoboVac running every night around our house and we're still able to get this much out just in 24 hours or less. That's between 4 humans and a dog, so I guess anything's possible, but you'll see the pet hair here, a lot of leaves, crumbs, see some glitter. You get the idea, but really fine dirt and dust as well as the larger objects will be able to be picked up with this vacuum. All right, now let's take a look at the mobile app. I'll give you a quick and brief overview of some of the key features. First, front and center, you'll see the status of your vacuum, charging, cleaning, pause, that sort of thing. In this case, it's unable to start. Place it on a flat surface. We have our charging icon and we have our map icon there. Here's our main floor map. This does have the option to add multiple maps. Here's how our map was populated. We can redivide the rooms as needed. We can relabel them. You can rotate things here. This is very basic mapping. You do not have the ability to set any sort of like no-go zones or virtual walls and barriers. You just have the ability to have a map and do room by room cleaning. And you'll see that down here, our favorite section. We can clean everywhere, or we can set up a new favorite where we would just clean by room or things along those lines. We have scheduling options, so we can schedule this vacuum. You have the ability to choose the days of the week, hour, minute, where do you want it to clean, everywhere or room by room clean. We also have the automation options. If you don't want to pick a time, maybe you have a very flexible, ever-changing schedule, then it's smart enough to detect when you leave and it will clean that way. So pick and choose how you want to schedule your Roomba out. And then we can view our cleaning history right here. So take a look, you'll see how it was able to clean. And we have the map that's populated, every area it was able to clean. So anything in white, like this is where the kitchen table and chairs are. Ottoman, you get the idea. Certain areas like that, kids' toys, why it hasn't cleaned there. And we get a nice breakdown. So the time that it ran for and the area that it cleaned. So it ran for an hour, came back home, recharged for an hour, and finished cleaning. So 475 square feet. Nice breakdown and overview there for you. Device messages, then you'll see like product health. We have product settings here. So we can go in and learn more about our Roomba, and we can locate it if we get lost. We can adjust our cleaning preferences. So we don't have any suction controls. We just have our cleaning passes. So let me show you that really quick actually. So you have 1, 2, or room size clean. And then we can reboot it, view our network information, or change Wi-Fi. So there's also beta at the bottom. I'll show you that too. If there's any beta features for your vacuum, you can check those out there and see if you want to try them out. So it's a very simple app, easy to navigate. It's going to be fairly basic in the feature set, but for a lot of you, the simplicity is beneficial. So how does the Combo i5 Plus stack up against the competition? Well, we'll be comparing it not only within iRobot's product lineup, but with the overall averages of the over 50 robot vacuum and mops that we've personally tested. So first up, we're looking at max suction power measured in PAs. The higher, the better here. Usually, iRobot tends to prove this metric wrong, but typically you want a higher suction power because you'll get a deeper clean. In this case, There is no known information on the PA rating of these products. iRobot does not publish that information, or at least it's not readily available. Next, max CFM, also the higher the better. You usually get a deeper clean. We measure these in-house. We got a score of 2.6. That's a point below iRobot's average of 3.7, which is almost half the average of the overall typical RoboVac average of 6.9. Good news here, though, is the deep cleaning score came back fantastic. We got a score of 90 out of 100. The overall average for our Roombas is 89. If you have any of the other i-series devices, you'll get a very similar result as those. There's no noticeable difference or improvement in performance, as there shouldn't be. It's an i-series device with the same cleaning system. Couple points above the overall average of 86. Next, decibels. 69 decibels was the max readout that we got with this vacuum, vacuuming on carpets. Brand average is 68, and the overall average is 69. So the good news here is there's no noticeable difference using this RoboVac versus any other average or typical robot vacuum. Battery life is measured in minutes. This battery life is unknown. I didn't want to publish anything because there was conflicting results, whether it was 75, 90, or even higher than that, like 140 or 150. But anyways, realistically, I would expect around 75 minutes or so, give or take. Maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. It will probably have to go back home depending on how large your area is to recharge during the clean. But with that being said, we do have some information for the overall iRobot brand average. You'll see that comes in right around 103 minutes for battery life. That's still about 50 minutes below the average of 150, but that result includes vacuums that aren't smart enough to go back home and recharge, like the i5 is. So for me, it's a moot point. I usually set mine on a schedule. It runs while I'm sleeping, so I don't care if it runs for an hour and a half, then has to go back home, recharge, and finish cleaning. I'm not around. Chances are you'll probably be running yours when you're asleep or out of the house. So for me, it's really not that big of a deal. Next, battery capacity measured in milliamp hours. Typically, you see better battery life with larger capacity batteries. It only makes sense. Unknown for the capacity of this, but if we're going off other i-series devices, about 2,000 milliamp hours would be the battery capacity. That's still about 1,600 milliamp hours below the overall average, but again, iRobot doesn't consume as much, I should say, power with their suction, so they've been able to run very efficiently with their dual brush roller system. Next, we have the height of our RoboVac. The i5 Plus comes in at 3.6 inches. Brand average is 3.5, skewed a little bit lower, I think, because of maybe the Brava Jets, maybe the 600 series, but they're all really close to each other in height. You'll see the overall average is also 3.6. That includes vacuums that are actually shorter than that don't have LiDAR, and it includes vacuums that are larger than that have LiDAR. So you're in the happy middle space here with the i-series at 3.6, still giving you plenty of reach to get under a lot of pieces of furniture. Next, bin capacity measured in milliliters, 400 milliliter capacity for the i5 Plus bin. iRobot's average is 380, so we're a little bit above average there. The overall average is 420, so we're slightly below average there, but this does self-empty, so doesn't matter. You're not making any trips to empty the dustbin, so who cares if it has to go back and empty a little bit earlier or a little bit more often when it's back home and charging. Next, let's talk about tank capacity. This is our water level. This is also measured in milliliters, 210 milliliter water tank. Brand average is 300. That's skewed higher because of the BravaJet M6 units that we sampled. The overall average is 260, and that includes a mix of vacuums that do and don't refill themselves. Last but not least, let's talk about the cost of this vacuum. So you'll see the i-series is one of the more affordable vacuums within iRobot's own lineup, and very close to the overall average vacuum. So what you're basically seeing is today on the market, you should expect at this price point to get the following: mopping, really good deep cleaning, and self-emptying. So where does that leave us with the Combo i5 Plus? Well, the first thing I gotta say is it's about time. So I've been waiting for more affordable mopping options from iRobot. Now, this does feel like this vacuum is about 2 years behind the competition, but the good news is we finally have something within the i-series that gives us mopping, and a self-empty base, and it isn't going to break the bank. So that's the good news here. Awesome cleaning system with the AeroForce cleaning system. The mopping system still could be improved because we have no sort of app controls for water flow or things like that. It's just a gravity-fed drip system. So I'd love to see that added in the future. Again, this is why I feel like it's a couple years behind the competition. There's no refilling, there's no cleaning, anything along those lines. So it's going to be better than nothing. It's going to be closer to just kind of wiping your floors with a damp paper towel. That's going to be the experience you'll get with this mop system. But the i series with the i5 Plus, fantastic for the self-empty base, very easy to use. And that AeroForce cleaning system is perfect for households with a lot of pets or hairy humans. If you have maybe an older RoboVac that gets a lot of tangles in its brushes, especially if they're bristle brushes, these dual rubber rollers do a fantastic job picking everything up while not staying tangled.